If you want your postcard to have a more graphic look, you can make graphic illustrations in Illustrator. So what I've done is I've just opened the postcard template and I'm going to work directly in Illustrator. I put a new layer in and I'm going to do my artwork on layer 3. Now the tools that we're going to be using for this, I usually start with the pen tool. The pen tool is what lets us make shapes from scratch. And remember that if you drop points, they are corner points, but if you hold and drag, you get these smooth points. The smooth points have the handles. You can change back from one to the other by dragging to get handles or clicking to get rid of the handles and making it into corner points. We also have the rectangle tool, which is a great way to just get a rectangle. So let's say I wanted to make my dairy monument or mural thing. What I can do is just start with a rectangle. Now I'd wanted to make it gray, and you can change the colors. This is the fill and this is the stroke, so whichever one is in front is what's going to change when you change the color. And now I can add a point using the pen tool to this monument. Now I'm just going to move the point over here. There we go, and now we have this monument. Now if I want to move the monument, I would use the move tool. If I wanted the selection tool, if I wanted to move just one point of the monument, I can use the direct selection tool to select one point, and then that point is what will move if I move it. And I'm going to do that. Now if I wanted to add some dimension on this, because this isn't a flat shape, it has some depth to it, I can use the pen tool to make some depth. I actually just want to move this a little bit like that. So now I'm going to use the pen tool. Oops, I just subtracted. When you have the pen tool and you hover over a point that already exists, it's going to subtract it. But now I'm making a new shape, and I'm going to close it. The shape closes when there's a circle. And if I use the selection tool, I can now change the color. And doing that gives it some more depth because it shows you that it's on the other side. It's not being hit by the sun. I can make the depth for this other part for the top. Now this top part would be hit by the sun, so I'm going to make it a nice light color. There we go, and now we have that monument. Now I can, of course, edit a point. I'm selecting these two so I can move them both. There we go. All of the points in Illustrator are editable, which is a big difference between Illustrator and Photoshop. While Photoshop is based on pixels, Illustrator is based in vectors, so you're able to edit anything. Now we can move that down. Okay, we can also use the ellipse tool to create shapes. Right there, that would create a shape. Now we can change it. So I wanted to make a face. Now I can hold L down. That will get us back to the ellipse tool. I can make this little eye, and now I can hit V because I want to make another shape. So L to get there we go. Now I can move that. Now if I want to make a second eye without having to redraw this, I can select both parts of the eye. I held down Shift so that way I can select them both. And now if I hold down Option or Option on a Mac and Alt on a PC, then we can duplicate the shape. Now I'm just going to make a mouth. Now let's use the direct selection tool to make it smile. There we go. And now we have this weird little face. I don't like how those are both such bright colors, so I can change the color by using the color tool. The color window right there. I can also maybe make him a little bit less dark. There we go. Other tools that we can use, this is the paintbrush tool, which is a pretty interesting tool to use in Illustrator. It's a little bit like the pen tool, um, except it's kind of a combination of the pen tool and the paintbrush tool in Photoshop and the pen tool here, where what we've done is I've just drawn this very fluid line that has all of these points. Each of these points is editable, so I can take some away. Well, I've just deleted that, but I think a big difference here than using between using the paintbrush and using the pen is how the shape closes. This shape is not closed. Well, I guess this one no, look, it's not closed. If we did that, now I've just flipped it, so now it's filled but no stroke. But this still isn't closed. This is an open shape. So when you use the pen tool, you can make a closed shape, and when you use the paintbrush tool, you can have a more fluid line, but you'd have to manually close it, which isn't difficult. You would just select both of these open points, and the Properties panel automatically gives you the option to close the points by using the Pathfinder option, which I'm actually not seeing. So what we can just do is open Windows, Pathfinder, and then you can just join the shape. And now it's closed. A faster way would even be just to hit Command or Control J, and that will close the points. But the point is that you can close points. I'm going to delete that though. We can also, back to the shape tool, you can get polygons, you can get a star, you can use lines. Something that's also pretty neat is the eraser tool. So let's just get an ellipse back. Another shortcut you can do to switch the stroke and the fill is if you have the shape selected and you hold down the letter X, these should switch. Oh, no, that's just in Photoshop. So never mind then. Let's just swap these. We can swap them like that. Now let's use the eraser tool to erase part of this image. What I've just done is I've erased a big chunk in the middle, and by doing that, I've separated the top from the bottom. So now these are two different shapes. Another option than just erasing, because erasing is a good way to separate the shapes, but you'll notice that we took like a whole hunk of it out. You can use the scissor tool to cut part of the shape. Now if you click away, we've cut the shape, but we didn't lose any of it, although we did open it. So the eraser tool will create two completely closed shapes, and the scissor tool opens the two shapes and cuts them apart. Those are some pretty neat tools that you can use in Illustrator to create graphic illustrations.